Hello everyone, this is me Bijesh here. Hope you are all doing well. Today we are going to do a video on file handling in QBASIC. So before we start making programs, we need to know a few terms related to file handling. We'll discuss about them first. So let us begin. Handling of data file in QBASIC. So this is the topic for today. Now before we begin, so you need to know first of all what is a data file, what are the advantages of using it, why we should learn it. So basically you should know data, it refers to the values which might be in terms of a variable or a constant which will be used during program execution. So these are the values upon which processing takes place. They are processed to obtain result. And simply file, next term, file is a collection of related information. It is collection of related information. So now file can be of two types. File, firstly data file, and second one program file. Now what is data file and what is program file? So as the name defines, data file consists data. Now what is data? As I told you earlier, they are the values which will be processed. For example, you make a program to find sum of two numbers, you supply two numbers as A and B. So those two numbers are data which is being processed in your program. So now a file which stores data, a file which stores data is data file, simply. Now like name, roll number, class, marks, percentage, or let's say salary, employee's name, book's name, writer's name, etc. All those data which can be stored in a file is known as a data file now. So you need to understand there will be two types of file. So now file, what is the advantage of using a file? So file is physically stored. File is stored there in your computer in secondary storage device. It is stored in secondary storage devices. For long-term use. So whenever you run a program in QBASIC, your data will be lost as soon as you stop running the program, close the QBASIC. So it remains there only there until the program is running. So as the data doesn't get lost, or even the output, to keep the input values and the outputs obtained from the program safe, we create a data file. So there are several advantages of using data file, like it can store data for a long period. That means it can be reused. Same data can be used by several programs. Now it also helps to store output, so it can be modified as per as a requirement. So that is the purpose of using data file. Now program file, Now most of the file which you have been designing so far, they are program file. It contains instructions. This tells the computer about how to process data. So right now this lesson is all about data file, handling of data file. How do you handle it? How do you manage it? How do you add data onto it? How do you delete data? How do you process the data in the file? So this lesson is all about handling of data. Now data file can be also of two types. Two types of data file. One is sequential access data file. Next one is random access data file. A sequential access data file, this is the type of file which are going to deal with. Now in a sequential access data file, all the data will be accessed sequentially as the name defines. Suppose you have 10 records, you want to view the contents, view the record of the person in 9th one, let's say there are records of 10 students from roll number 1 to 10. I want to view the, let's say, details of the students in roll number 9. So in this type of file we have to read records of each student from roll number 1 to 8 unnecessarily. We have to read already 1 to 8 as it goes serially, sequentially. Then I will reach roll number 9 and I can view the details of that particular person. Whereas in random access, it goes directly to the desired position. So but in this lesson right now we will be dealing with sequential access only. Now the next thing which you need to know is file mode. File mode refers to, let's say, the purpose of using a file, the purpose why the file has been accessed. Basically right now for this level you need to learn three mode. They are input mode, output mode, and append. Now what are the uses of it? I will tell you slowly. First of all, now before this I'll tell you about one of the statement, one of the keyword which will be used in file handling, that is the open statement. The syntax for the open statement. The syntax for this open statement is open file name dot extension for mode as file number. So three things to be given with this open statement: the name of the file, the mode, and the file number, that is the index. For example, like when I started this creating this file which you are viewing right now, this is in notepad, it's a notepad document, you can see this. So I'm typing onto it. So in the beginning what I did was I opened the application, I opened this notepad document. So this open statement is also the same, it's used to open a file. Now what are the purpose of you opening a file? Maybe you are creating a new file, just like I'm doing right now. It was blank document, I started typing in onto it. Maybe so there are documents which I want to view which is already saved, then that's next one. Or maybe I want to make changes onto it, I want to add additional data. these three modes are the same. So in output mode, we create new file, output mode. So you want to view the contents, view all file, it's input mode. And if you want to add data, add records, data, then it's FN mode. Now an example of this open statement is, for example, open student dot dat for output as #1. So that means I'm going to create a file named student.dat. As I have mentioned output mode over here, we are creating, this file is being opened for creating purpose, creating new, this is fresh now. And #1, this is the index number. Throughout the program later on, this file will be known as 1. It's indexed. Later on we don't have to write out student.dat. It will be known as 1, file number 1. Here I'd like to add you one more thing. Like, the open statement can be used in one more way. It has another syntax. Like, the syntax is open the file mode, so that's within inverted comma, has file number, comma again, then the file name. Suppose if you want to use in this manner, the example of this will be open the file mode. You will write just, if it is for input mode, you will write only I, output mode only O, and FN mode only A. So that means I write open I, that means it will be open for input, it is input mode for reading purpose. Then comma, you can give any number, suppose #2, that's the file number you can give, and the name of the file, for example std.dat. So these are the few conceptual things which you need to know before going on to programming section. We'll have to know more things. I will continue in a while. Let's move on to, let's say, QBASIC window now. Here I start my QBASIC. So it's ready now. So I write over here open student.dat for output as #1. So we have opened the file in output mode, that means for creating purpose. Now there is a blank document, blank file. Now what do you want to store in it now? Suppose as the name defines student.dat, I want to store details of a student. like the name, guardian's name, address, and telephone number. Four things, let us suppose. So I write over here input, enter your name, similarly input, enter your address, enter, sorry, input, enter your guardian's name, and lastly one more, input, enter your telephone number. So these four statements are simple to understand. So it will ask the user to enter name, address, and guardian's name and telephone number. Four things during the program execution, and those four values will be stored in these four variables like $, $, $, $Z, and hash. Hash because sometimes mobile number is 10 digits, so I am using double precision variable. So it's there now in temporary memory. When the program is running, it's in your RAM. Now when you have to store that in your data file permanently, now what we have to do is you need to learn one more statement, that is the write statement. Write hash. The function of this statement is used to write data onto the data file. The syntax for it is write hash file number, comma, data items. Now as many data as you want to write, maybe $, $B, ABC, anything, numeric or string values. So you give after the file number. So this file number is the number which is indicated besides the file which you want to write to. For example, in this file, the name of the file is strain.dat. So now this file is being indicated as hash1. So now if I want to write data onto this file, I need to give the number 1. So I'll write over here write hash1 $, comma, $, comma, $Z, comma, n hash. So I'll type it write hash, the file number 1, comma, $, comma, $, comma, $Z, comma, n hash. So now when this statement is executed, those four values which were obtained from the user will be returned to the data file strain.dat. Now this will be stored there permanently. You can use it again later on during with new program or the same program again. So this is simple. Now if I want to add data of 10 people, maybe I can use a loop. I'll write over here for I equals to 1 to 10. Next, so in this way maybe I can store for 10 students. So but, or if you want make, you can make it 15, 20, 50 or 100, as many as per your requirements. So I'll change this into 5 so that I can show you. If I make it 10, I'll have to enter too many names. So let me make it 3. Now next statement which you need to learn is the close statement. Close, as the name defines, it is used to close the file, close the data file. So close has the file number. Close has file number. So if you give it without any file number, it will close all the open file if there are more than one file open. Okay. So if you want to close the particular file, you need to mention the number. So I'll write over here close, close has 1. My file number is 1. So now this program is ready to run. So I'll run it. So it is asking to enter a name. For example, the name is Roshan. The address is Hosaltar. Maybe guardian's name is maybe the guardian's name is Rajaram, and the telephone number is, I just entered a random telephone number. Second name, second student's name, maybe the student's name is Jai. The address is maybe, let's say, something like, I just enter randomly. Guardian name, the phone number, enter name of the next student. So this is done now. So now if you see, there will be a file located in the same QBASIC directory, QBASIC folder. Let me locate that for you. Here you have the file strain.dat. You can see, actually you can open it using notepad also. See, the same thing, 3 data items which I enter is here. So now it's safe, it's there, you can use it anytime. So this is how we have learned how to create a data file. sometimes maybe you'll be asked to write a program where the users has the choice to terminate the program. For example, I create another I'll just add one over here. I'll show you there is no file name student1. Now this time I'll not use the for loop. Instead, so I'll write over here do loop while cs dollar equals to y. Now that means here I'm going to ask with the user input do you want to add more. So I give some, the user has to enter y or n. So this option will be stored as a variable cs dollar. The user will give y or n to tell his choice whether he wants to add more or not. Yes y, no n. And this will be in the variable cs dollar, and this loop will run until cs dollar equals to y. That means the program will add as many records as the user wants. Let us try this program again. So name, I just add more, I give y over here. So I have not used U case, that's why I am giving capital Y. If you give small y, it will stop. Enter your name again, address, guardian's name. So I give no now. So that means I've given two values. So let's go and see in the file. Here you see student1. So in this one you can see those random values, dummy text. So by now, okay, you should have learned how to create a data file in QBASIC. Now suppose after you create the data file, now you want to add more data onto it. You still want to add some more records. Then you use the append mode. Append. So initially you should remember, just now I created the file name student.dat. There were 5 records. Now I want to add more onto it. So if I run this program in our append mode, now you can add data at the end of the file. So if you run the same file again in output mode, your previous data will be lost. It will be overwritten. So if you don't want to lose your data, you need to open the file in append mode. Let's try this again. Here also I give the user the choice to add more records or not. Let's run this. Your name is suppose address is telephone number. Do you want to add? Let me say yes. Enter your name, address somewhere, enter telephone number. So I say no now. I added 2 more records. Now if you see here, our file student.dat here, see the last two record, it has been also updated. So this is the use of output and append mode. Now if you want to view the contents of the file, now you need to use this file in input mode. Input. So now if it is open in input mode, now it's ready to, let's say, view the contents of the file. Now we are not going to use this input statement. Input statement is used to, let's say, ask values with the user. Now you need to learn one more statement, that is input has. So not input, along with input you have the hash sign also. The syntax is like same like write statement. Input has file number, comma, variable list. So you know there were 5 names, 5 people's names, address, phone number, etc. So I'll run a loop 5 times. So I write over here for I equals to 1, 2, 5. And now I don't need to use these input statements. Neither do I have to use the write statement. Sorry. For I equals to 1 to 5. So within this loop, each time I will make the program read. Let's say the QBASIC will read one line from the program using the input hash statement. Input has 1, as your file number is 1. So let me once try a different number. So from the beginning I am using the same number. Let me say hash 5. So I'll have to give hash 5 here also. Hash 5. Input has 5. So there are 4 values in the file, you know it. Okay. 4 values in the file, and they are name, address. Now it is not mandatory that you have to use the same variable name. In previous time when I created the file, I used the variable names like $, $, $, $Z, and some p hash or n hash, I forgot. So you may use any variable names. So there are, let's say I'll write $, $B, $C for name of the student, address, and parent's name. Similarly, for the telephone number I use D hash, but it should be of same type, similar type. Variable type should be same. So now each time when the loop runs, it will read one line from the program. Now after reading, so I'll give over here print $, A, B, C, and D hash. So what happens here now? Every time this statement is executed, it reads the value from the data file, and every time this statement is executed, it prints the output on the screen. Those data which is written onto the data file, okay, which is saved there, it will be printed on the screen. So nothing special with this program. Let's try and run this. See, you have those 5 students details: name, address, parent's name, and phone number. Now for instance, let's say you don't know what are the records there in the file. I mean, you don't know whether there is telephone number, address, how many fields are there, how you are uncertain about the fields in the file. Then maybe you can use one more statement over there, line input hash. That means the entire row will be stored in a single variable, single string variable, the records of each student, one student. So this is how we use it. So I have written over here line input has 5 $. Now this $, this string variable will store the values of one particular student. First row, all the data, whatever is their name, roll number, class, section, blah blah. As many fields are there, all of them they will be stored in a single variable $. Then I'm printing print $. Same variable is being printed. Let's try this. See. So it's working, right? So to differentiate, those are different fields. Here you have inverted comma in between. Now similarly, let us suppose you know it, okay, because I created just now. There are 5 people's record. I also know it, there are 5 people's record. Now suppose you don't know how many people's record are there, whether it's 5, 10, 50. So in such cases, you need to learn one more function, one more condition, function of QBASIC. That is the EOF function. Now this is a function which checks for whether the program has reached the end of the file or not. EOF stands for end of file. So we use it in programs like this way. Suppose I write over here while not EOF the file number. Suppose right now, just now I used number 5. While not EOF 5 means this loop, whatever I write in between while and when, this loop has to run until it's not the end of file, until it has not reached the last line, until it has not read the last record of the file, this file number 5. So I do the same thing over here. While not EOF 5 when I think input is better. So input has 5, so there were 4 values. So $, $B, $C, and N has. So we'll print the same thing. $B, $C, and has. Alright, let's see this now. Fine. So this loop has run 5 times and it has displayed all those 5 records in that particular data file. So far we have learned how to create a data file, how to add records onto the data file, how to view the contents of the data file, and how to add records into previously saved data file. So this is all for this video. In the next video we will learn how to delete records from the file or modify the records, right? So suppose for example we had phone number of the student. So I want to change the telephone number of particular student, or let's say I want to search for data of particular student, searching of the data, or you want to process the data. That means the data is there in the file and you have to process them. For example, there you have the marks, you have to calculate percentage. These other types of problem will be discussed in the next video. Thank you. This is all for today. Have a nice day.